This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
You know, I'm a conservative guy. I believe in conservatism.
Savage, unfiltered.
The energy was high.
Whoa, GTI.
Kick his ass, man.
Your host, Michael Gardner. Like a Hellcat.
Hey, Dean, how are you doing, sir?
Michael, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I almost forgot your name there for a minute. You notice how I hesitated?
I like that. I think Steen is a good name, man. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, you heard the Steen, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Good.
So we can make this work out. Sorry about last time. Things were, I guess, different things bouncing around and everything. And I get it. We all live different crazy world of a life today. So it is what it is.
No problem, man. And then I had the deal with my kid. I had to pick him up. He got sick.
Uh-oh.
But here we are, Michael. We're ready to rock, buddy.
We're ready to rock, man. So how's it been, man? I know you've been busy, filming the game day movie.
Well, we did game day, and so lately, so now I did a which I can't talk too much about, but I did a part on Winning Time. So I was very excited about that. Been shooting some commercials, a couple TV shows here and there. So, keeping
Awesome.
busy for an old bastard, man.
Keep that shit
Awesome.
down.
Just to let you know, Dean, I do have my co-host that joins me on the show, Sas.
Hello, and welcome to Remember God Loves You, and I'll meet you at the finish.
He goes by the name of Sas. That's what we call him, Sas, just for short. So just let you know.
What's happening, Sauce? How are you, my friend?
Good. Dean, what's happening with you?
Not too much, man.
So what do you do?
What do I do? I'm a filmmaker and an actor and a writer and a general pain in the ass, man.
He does a lot of line of work, Sas. He's doing a lot of good movies. I know you're doing the now, Dean. I gotta make correction here. That's is that a series on HBO Game Day, or is that an actual movie? Because I'm not familiar with that.
Game Day is a movie that I co-wrote and co-produced and was starred in. That is on Tubi and Apple Plus and Plex and Amazon, and I believe Vimeo.
Holy shit, man. Got a lot of fucking platforms.
The good thing about Tubi and Plex is that those are free if you've got them. It's there. It's been out on Tubi for about a month and a half now. It's doing very well. We're getting some really nice reviews. It's a story about an Italian-American family that gets together on a Sunday to watch the Eagles and the Cowboys play, and all of the dysfunctional stuff that erupts on a day when multi-generations and mixed families come together. It's very much from the heart. I think it's like most people's family, which is, obviously not perfection. Lots of pimples and warts and all kinds of stuff that we got to work our way through with family. And I think that it's definitely from the heart. Honest film shooting from the hip, and we really hope everybody goes out and sees it on Tubi, Plex, all the platforms. Game Day, that's that. The series that I did, which I can't talk too much about, is Winning Time, but that's the one that is on HBO. And
okay. Obviously you can't. Yeah, I was like, obviously you can't get too much into it because of contract issues. I get it, sir. We'll just leave it like that.
Action.
I understand. Other than Game Day and everything else, I want to make sure, like last time we were trying to get you on the show, it sounded like you were going through like a wardrobe fitting. No wardrobe fittings tonight, right, Dean?
No wardrobe fittings.
Okay.
In my comfy white T-shirt and my Levi jacket. So no, I did I did a commercial, a couple commercials last week, which again, 2 NDAs, and I can't say anything about them, man. But no, it's been really good. I've been kept really busy, and have a really nice role in a television show where I play. I can't give it away because I give away the ending if I give it away. But
no spoilers, Dean.
No spoilers. But unless you're living in the UK or in Germany, you won't see that TV show anyway. That's called X Factor. Not our X Factor, a different X Factor. But
okay.
Really good people and really creative young filmmakers. And it was a really cool experience. And then I also have something out right now, which I just love, by Jason Palmer, who's a fantastic director. He directs a lot of the Geico commercials, and he directs a lot of the comedic bits and spots that are on the NFL, on I believe the Fox NFL, and it's called Board Walk. Super funny. You can get that on Roku. Hilarious. He's a terrific director, and I play a douchey father. Typecast.
Okay.
Typecast again, man.
Okay.
So, Dean, what made you become an actor in the first place? Like, did you always want to become an actor, or what made you get into this industry?
Well, it's a kind of a strange story. I was at the time living in Atlanta. I was in high school, and I was playing sports and small but slow, which made me a not great candidate for moving forward into college sports, certainly not pro sports. So at a certain point, I decided to take just a drama class, just because I'd already taken consumer math, and whatever I could do to not take anything where I had to tax my brain, I did. So I took a theater class, and there was this fantastic teacher, Mr. Hildebrand, Tom Hildebrand. And he said, I think you can do this. He said, how about I give you the lead role in the school play? And he said, but you got to commit. And I said, okay. And I did. And it was love at first bite. And I definitely just jumped in from there. And within 2 years, I was on Facts of Life. And
there's a place you got to go for learning all you ought to know about the facts of life. The facts of life. When your books are what you're there
down the food chain and waiting tables. And then
wait a minute. You were actually on the TV series The Facts of Life?
I was. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I was an embryo when I did that, man. So it was a while ago. It was a minute or two ago.
I'm trying to remember which part. Like which character did you play?
I played Nancy McKeon's boyfriend in an episode.
Oh shit! Now I remember. Yeah. Wow, that's going back years, man.
Yeah, and I didn't think she could fix motorcycles because she was a girl. And of course, I got put in my place, as well I should. And so that was cool. And then I did a bunch of different television shows, and went with William Morris, and had a couple of like near hits with some major movies that I ended up getting so close and not getting. But like I said, making a living, not making a living, waiting.
Yeah.
Literally coaching high school football, playing.
Well, that's Hollywood, Dean. I mean, like you win some, you lose some, right? You can only get so many acts and so many roles. Sometimes you get accepted, sometimes you don't. But I noticed through your portfolio, you have worked with some comedy greats. Did you want to get into that? I know there was not a lot, but there was some that you worked alongside with over the years.
All kinds of really incredible actors, from Patty Duke to Richard Crenna to, Mickey Rourke, John Voight.
Wow.
I just working on an Adam McKay production, which was just amazing. And yeah, it's been a blessing, man. I mean, I literally have lost track of the many people that I've been lucky enough to work with, and also lucky enough to work with a lot of people who aren't famous but are tremendously talented. When we did Game Day,
she is not coming here.
She's only going to stay a couple hours.
I don't care if she stays a couple of minutes. I don't want her here.
Don't start that paranoid.
Paranoid? I see the way you look at her when she visits.
Savaged, unfiltered.
Meet a whole group of people back there in Philadelphia, Pete Stiglione and Val McAdoo, and we're actually getting ready to make another film together. And God, man, it's been a blessing, dude. I mean, I've had a chance to work with just some really, really amazing people, and
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I noticed that game day, man. I mean, that's a big one. You know, I've seen the trailer. Looks pretty interesting. You know.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you know, dude, I mean, I'm telling you, it is a balls to the wall look at family life. It really isn't about football, as you saw in the thing. Football,
yeah. It touches a little bit of football, but it doesn't go too much in depth with it, you know?
No, not at all, man. It's definitely about family dynamics, and it's about also being true to yourself. And, you know, man, I mean, look, it's a difficult thing, this game of life.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
We all hang in and we do our best. And I don't know about you guys, but I fail miserably quite often. And
why is that?
Why? Because I'm human, man. I mean,
you said I don't know about you guys, but I film horribly. I thought maybe there was some type of
I fail horribly sometimes because I think that it's an ongoing deal. I had a really good friend who I coached football with. He was the head coach. I was the defensive coordinator on a team out here in California, Harvard Westlake, pretty decent school. And I remember he used to always say, you know, it's a process, not an event. And I think that's true, Sauce and Michael. I think it is a process, not an event. And I think that, you know, what do they say? What is the journey is the destination? So I think that that's kind of the case with it. And we're always learning and figuring it out. And I think that's kind of what game day is about, is people just trying to piece it together and figure it out, as we all are.
So did you decide, so who came up with the title, The Game Day? Was it you or the director?
Actually, you know, it's funny. Me and the director actually wrote the script together.
Wow.
But we did not. Actually, the executive producer, who's another terrific guy, John Paul Rice, very bright guy, incredibly bright guy. He came up with the idea for the title, and I can't remember what the original. I think the original title was going to be Home Game or something to that effect, and he was like Game Day, and I was good on it. I mean, I thought it was a good title, because I do think that Sunday when everybody gets together, there's a lot of games, family games, and emotional games that are being played. So I think that it was a good double entendre, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, there was a Dean. Now there was another label such as this movie. This was going back I think maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Is it like a spin-off to that movie or a remake? Because I know there was another Game Day prior to this movie.
No, it was not. And that's the one thing about movie titles, is that
maybe it was a series. I thought
it was actually a movie, and there is occasionally some confusion about it. I've never seen that movie, but I do know that it is out there. And I do know one thing about that. It's sort of similar to band names. Like, I remember reading that, like, when they came up with the name Nirvana, there was like a whole bunch of bands called Nirvana, and a lot of them, you know, were like, you know, Jack and the Three Jills playing in Des Moines at the Holiday Inn, doing covers of Afternoon Delight, which is not a whole lot what those guys were doing. Right.
I thought I seen something with Dwayne The Rock or something like 10 years ago with something Game Day, but maybe I was looking at it wrong.
There's a few. There was a Game Day about basketball, and then, you know, I mean, I think it's a fairly commonly used deal. And a lot of times, like with my newer scripts, I've used a little bit more of an esoteric title, because I didn't want people to confuse the two. But we stand by the title. We're happy with it, and certainly had a great experience in Philadelphia shooting it, and the next one we're hoping to shoot in Philadelphia as well. So,
hey there. Your favorite NBC and Bravo shows are now streaming on Peacock, and you have Peacock, so...
I'm all yours.
Okay. Where do you want the rest?
The rest?
1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have just a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Another one? Hey! Busted.
Masterpiece.
That's fun.
You thirsty?
They were all dead. Sweet dreams.
So, what are we watching? Oh, I don't understand a word you're saying.
NBC, Bravo, and so much more. All in one place. Streaming on Peacock.
Well, you speak about Philadelphia, man. You got any, action flicks coming out of Philadelphia? Maybe like some mobster movies that you could speak about, or no? Nothing in the works yet.
Nothing that I'm doing in that capacity. No, I kind of
okay.
shy away from that deal. Being an Italian American, I sort of feel like the perception that like all Italians are in that world. I mean, I've certainly known people that were in that world. My grandfather's brother was in it, and I know people that are in it. But for the most part, Italian Americans are they're just we are just working and doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. So I think that there tends to be a bit of a misconception that we're all like Joe Pesci,
Oh God, yeah.
Am I amusing to you? What's fun? It's like we're not all like that.
a fucking legend, by the way, Dean. I mean,
I mean, again, love him.
I was gonna say, have you met him before? Or?
I have not. I've never met Joe Pesci, but I will tell you this: my first wife, her family was super tight and knew him really, really well because they were all from Newark.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey. Yeah,
he's a Newark guy. And actually, if you've seen Jersey Boys, he's in that. He was like one of the guys that was trying to get the Four Seasons. He was actually their manager for a while. And my father-in-law, who has passed away, a beautiful guy and an incredible musician. My ex-father, well, still my father-in-law, my ex-wife's father. And
you gotta put him in the family somewhere or another, right, Dean?
He's in there. I'll tell you, he's a great guy, and he was a great guy and super talented guy. And he knew Pesci very well, and Frankie Valli as well. And to go back to it, Joe Pesci is a kick-ass guitar player, man, and very much a very artistic guy. He really isn't a mobster at all. He's actually a very soft-spoken.
Yeah. He's very soft-centered. Soft-spoken. I should use the words because speaking of Pesci, I have met him once before. This was going back like years.
Wow.
I used to work for a radio station up in New York, a college station, in my early 20s.
Right.
And he was literally in the next studio room besides me because I would basically come in on a flex type of schedule, and I would fill in for some of the guys that usually like call out or they were sick or they weren't feeling well. I would be like that filling guy. You know what I mean?
Get it. I got it. Yep.
He's in the studio next to me, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, holy shit, that's Joe Pesci.
What's really funny is the fucking bank job away in Sea Caucus. I'm in the middle of the fucking weeds, laying down. He comes over, he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm resting." "Here you're resting." Got a fucking beach in a
That's
park.
Goodfellas. That's that's the guy from Casino. That's the fucking guy. That's the guy, And I'm like, I'm going crazy and everything.
He's so great, and his role to add to the ones you've said, which are all great. I mean, then he does something that's very light fare, like My Cousin Vinny, which he's so funny and great in. And then he turns around and just does a tour de force performance in Raging Bull, and he's so good in that, and so heavy, and so God, man, and so many of those funny lines. It's just like him. Those are improv Joe Pesci lines, man. Like when De Niro as Jake LaMotta calls him after they've had their falling out, and he keeps calling him but won't talk to him on the phone, like he doesn't want him to know that he's calling. Yes, the meltdown on the phone, and he's like, "Your mother sucks big fucking donkey dicks," and I was like almost lost it.
Yeah,
and that's his line, man, which is just like. So amazing that he came up with so much of that stuff. And,
so tell us a little bit more about, your movie career, man. I mean, obviously you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, any type of roles that you were maybe your favorite, or some of the roles that maybe weren't your favorite, and you were kind of like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Oh, dude, I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's so many things that I've done that I feel really proud of, and there's some things that I did that I felt completely like, God, I hope nobody sees this, and I still like want to try to pull things down from IMDb. I've worked with so many, like, just in indie films, like Karando Mitsutaki, who's a really talented director. He makes very violent and very esoteric films. I did a film with him called Monsters Don't Get to Cry, and that was a really amazing experience. And he's a terrific director. And I mean, I've worked with so many different people. Having a chance to be Jim Beam in the Jim Beam commercials and doing that commercial.
Oh, that was you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was an amazing experience. The cinematographer was Hoyt van Hoytema, who does all of Christopher Nolan stuff, and he's one of the most brilliant people. And Michael Gondry, who I did a commercial with, who's just amazing. He did The Spotless Mind, the one with Jim Carrey, and I've done everything from NYPD Blue to
I thought I seen you in a couple of episodes of NYPD Blue. Yeah.
So I did
towards like the middle of the season of NYPD Blue, right?
Yeah, did that, and just did a film with Mickey Rourke. And anybody, by the way, who wants to knock Mickey Rourke or say he's a difficult guy or whatever, I want to tell you, Mickey Rourke is one of the most generous, decent actors that I ever worked with, and a really good guy.
If I may step in, man, he was phenomenal in the very first Expendables movie when he was with Stallone and all the other guys there. I thought that role was fine. It was a small little role. He's in the garage. He's leaning over on the bike, tattooing Stallone. And he was saying, would you ever imagine going back to, your former self and rewriting your former self? I would, in a fucking heartbeat, he says. the chemistry he had on screen with Stallone, and even that real, demeanor coming out of him, I was like, holy shit, Mickey Rourke, man, still has it.
Yeah, he's a great dude, man. He's a really good guy, and he really carries a lot of soul and a lot of weight. And I got to actually I had a decent role in a movie called Exit in Red, where he played a psychiatrist that got sort of framed for murder, and I was a kind of a douchey cop, and we were after him, and we had a few scenes together, and I really, man, what a treat to be able to work with him. And John Voight too, another total master. I know John Voight gets in a lot of there's a lot of, I don't know, not controversy, but certainly he's a conservative, and he's very open about his conservative beliefs. And a lot of people really come down on him. Me, myself, I am not a conservative. I'm a left person, actually, but I don't believe in either party. So I'm off of the
okay.
grid.
You're off the grid. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm an independent, and so for me, I really don't care what a person's political proclivity is or how they feel towards things, as long as they're not like bigots. They don't want to ruin our ecology, and they're trying to do some sort of peace. I'm okay.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree with you to an extent. I mean, I'm just going to let you know, I'm a conservative. I believe in, traditional values of this country and everything. But I mean, I just.
Michael Gardner, uncut, raw.
I hate to see where our country's going to go in the next 10 years because it's on a fucking dividing scale right now. But, that's what it is,
I hate that, Michael, and I would love to just talk to you for an hour about that, because my viewpoint really is, I think the whole notion of two parties is such a ridiculous notion.
Oh, we're getting to that point right now, Dean, where I think the American people are starting to understand, where our government is going. I mean, literally, they're acting like 5-year-old kids, man, like going back to our kindergarten selves. Like, he gets the blue ball, he got the red ball. I want one. Shut the fuck up. Guys, like, are you guys grown ass men and women, or are you 5, 6-year-old children? You know?
Michael, it's so true, man. It's absolutely.
And I just want to let you know, Sas had to depart because he has a Sas is heavily involved with the Wisconsin Republican Committee there up in Madison, Wisconsin. So he had to text me like literally right now. He's like, "Man, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta get off." I'm like, "I understand. Thank you for coming in and everything." But
he had to get off because of the political things I said.
Well, he speaks at a lot of town hall type of meetings and Republican committee speeches and stuff. Yeah, he's a young kid. He's only like 24 years old, but I mean he's fucking heavily involved in this, And I'm like, man, I wish I had more time.
That's a funny thing, man. I hope I didn't scare him away or chase him away.
No. Like I had a guest one day and I said the same thing, to a guest, and we were like talking like politics, like 101 on the show, and like the way Sas was getting into it, he was like, "Are you like gonna run for fucking president or something in the next 30 years?"
Well, hey, man, I love that. I love that kind of passion, and good for him for having the commitment. For me, basically, I just believe that there's, look, it's a difficult situation to talk about. All I can say is the way I vote is if you come in, you're telling the truth. I think you care about this country. I think you care about people in general. I think you're trying to do something. And I think that you care. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or from Mars. You'll get my vote. I'll vote for the person.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Woman comes along and says, I feel this and I'm backing it with this, and this is where I'm coming from. I don't care what she is. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, since we're on the political label here, would you ever consider of going for a role on a political scale? Like, would you do a political movie?
Oh, I would love to do a political movie. I actually, for a big chunk of my life, really would have liked to have been in politics, and probably would still consider doing it, except that my wife, who I adore, who is
she doesn't favor it, huh?
She is like, she supports every and anything that I do artistically in my life, but she really has asked me, please don't ever do it. But honestly, I would love to sit down with Sas and talk to him about stuff, because honestly, I look at, I feel like my political views are so much like every American's political view, where we have so much of a mixture of both parties. Look at it this way. How can I put this in a simple term? It's like this. If, Michael, you walked into a restaurant and you sat down and they brought you a menu, and you opened up the menu, and the menu had two things on it: steak and spaghetti. And you didn't eat red meat and tomato sauce upset your stomach, what would you do? Well, that's where we are today. If you if you like steak, you can go here. If you like spaghetti, you can go there. But
it's so fucking divided now, Dean. It really is. I mean,
of course. How could it not be? How could it not be divided, Michael? I mean, when you really stop and think about it, how can we take any of us who are human beings with children and wives and husbands and lives and jobs, and sit there and try to delineate all our beliefs into one tube or another?
This is embarrassing.
And say, I'm one of these two things. None of us are one of those two things. And that's why I think that it's a very difficult system. Not democracy. I love democracy. Not our country. I love our country. But this two-party thing, look, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that we should have a two-party system. Nothing.
No. What wasn't designed that way, Dean? I mean, look at the country 200 years ago versus now. I mean, everybody then was more united than they are now. I think the way that our country is now is due to the fact that the media has a lot of influence in, hyping up like political parties and, political topics and everything. And, CNN, Don Lemon on CNN can say something and everybody's on fucking board with it. Like, they're on a fucking rainbow fucking trail with it. Like, oh, yeah, let's do it.
The thing that really cracks me up about that is that, I look at CNN the same way that I look at Fox, where I really believe that when you're looking at news that has an agenda, That's not news. I grew up in the era. I was like, sucking on a pacifier, but I do kind of remember it. And I certainly remember it, I remember references in the way that when news was post Walter Cronkite, and the point of the news was to tell people what's going on and let them make their own mind up about it. I really feel like that's what news is supposed to do. It's not supposed to say I'm leaning to progressives. I'm leaning to conservatives. I'm trying to get somebody elected. All those things are dicey. And the other thing I'll say is that we live in a world where special interests they make a big difference, and you've got a lot of companies that are backing both candidates.
Sure.
Put equal money into both candidates. Well, what does that tell you right there? Like, it tells you all you need to know about the way that the system is. Not knocking democracy, not knocking America, not knocking the American people, because I love all those things, and I'm a proud American, man. Proud American.
Yeah. You and I both. I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I that's kind of why I stepped away from video podcasting for a while. Not that I don't like doing it, but I got tired of the shadow banning and, Facebook and Insta crap. That's what I call them. They love to censor and they love to play the glitch shit, in your audio software, whatever broadcasting you use. They love doing that, when they manipulate it. Because when you go onto a live feed on Facebook or Instagram, they play that glitch shit, in your software. And people are like, I can't hear you. You're cutting out. No, it's not me. It's my internet. It's fine. It's fucking Mark Zuckerberg there in fucking San Fernando Valley.
It's a very strange time right now, Michael. And I do believe, and I always believe this, and I wear this on my sleeve proudly, and I always will. I am a very deeply religious person. I am I'm a Catholic. I drink, I curse, I sin, and then I do my best to do my best. But I have very strong beliefs in God and in what we're being taught, to love thy neighbor as you love thyself, man. And that is what it's all really about, isn't it?
Oh, if I had Sauce on the show still, obviously, Sauce is going to be listening to this, on Spotify and all the other platforms, but if Sauce was back on the show here, I mean, he's heavily into that religion and spirituality. I mean, I'm spiritual. I believe in spirituality, but I'm not heavy on the religion. I'm not a religious type of guy. I don't go to church or nothing like that, but I do believe in a higher power, of course. But
I don't think that you have to, or that you should, and I don't think that Jesus felt that either. I think that the reality of it is, if Jesus came today, they would hang him higher. They would crucify him more, because basically he came out and said, "Don't follow leaders, watch the parking meters," like Bob Dylan said. It was like,
I think Bell, Passion of Christ.
He might have, man. But it's really true, man. And the reality of it is that really we have to be compassionate towards each other and empathetic towards each other, and realize that we are in this world together. We are in this country together. We all want the same things. We want to love our children and love our families and do our best and do good work. And, most people feel that way. And the very few psychopaths that are out there, and there aren't many, there's very, very few of them. Most of the world and the country is made up of people like you and me that just want good for other people and want to do their best and just want to make a living and have a life, man.
See, this is how we should talk. We should talk like this. We should have a healthy conversation to an extent. We're not always going to agree with one another. I completely understand that. I mean, Dean, I was on this show not too long ago through the Bubba Love Sponge podcast network. And this washed up goon, he's a washed up goon. And I had the conversation with him, and, he's like, Michael, like, what's your insight on politics? I'm like, I don't think we should go there, buddy.
Okay.
And he's like, no, like, do you think that, Biden should put up, landmines on the southern border, and we won't have a problem with immigrants because we can blow them up. I'm like, what? No, I do have a heart, man. And I got Mackenzie right next to me, the producer of the show, and she's like singling to me, and she's like, Mike, don't go there. I'm like looking right at her. I'm like, the body language coming out of my mouth, I'm speaking like really, really low where this idiot couldn't hear me. And she's like passing notes to me saying, oh yeah, he's like literally levying you into his trap. His producer and the editors there are trying to like levy you into that talking point. I was like, oh yeah, I know. All talk radio show personalities or hosts do the same thing. It's it's nothing new. I've been in this business for over 20 years. I know how they do it. They do it for hype.
Of course, because you're always trying to grab something that somebody says, whether it's you and I, or it's something that The Rock says, or it's something that Paul McCartney says, or it doesn't matter if you're at our level or at their level.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Dean. I mean, I've been watching these guys for years. I mean, I grew up watching Bubba Love when I was in high school, and then through Howard Stern show, I used to watch all that. But then, it got too much, and I was like, all right, well, the fame is going to the head, and obviously that sometimes happens. I get it, Yeah,
unfortunately, that's the truth. Life has always managed to humble me enough that it doesn't go there, that I don't get to that point. But
I was going to say, I could tell you something. Oh, hold that thought. I was going to say, I could tell you the most humble actor I had the opportunity to meet so far would happen to be Adam Sandler. I think he is the most humblest actor in Hollywood right now.
I think he is just such a quality, awesome human being. I just love that guy. First of all, I think he's funny as hell. I think he's super smart the way he's worked his career. He's a guy that I would love to meet and work with. I mean, honestly, I just think he's terrific, man. And I couldn't agree with you more.
Savaged, unfiltered.
Super humble in the real way, not in an awesome fake way. And I think he's super cool, man. I'll tell you, Michael, we live in this world right now that lacks tolerance, lacks compassion, and the people don't. The people are still the same as they've ever been. We just need an opportunity and a place where we can be compassionate and understanding of each other. My grandfather was a union organizer and and not a left-wing person in the terms of, like, say, somebody like Bernie Sanders or somebody in like AOC. He was like a Hubert Humphrey guy. He was like in that John Kennedy world, and that's where he lived. And I have friends that I went to high school with. I went to high school in Georgia. One of my best friends, absolute best friends, Jim Darling, who's a doctor and successful doctor. He stood on the platform when Trump got, sworn in.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not a Trump fan, but in the same respect, I love my friend Jim. I love his mind. I love him. He's a great dude. And you know what? If that's how he feels, that's his trip. That's his thing.
You mentioned Atlanta. I used to live in Atlanta prior to. Yeah, I live in Florida now. I live in Orlando, but I was living in Atlanta for like 3 years. Whereabouts did you live? Because I used to live in. Are you familiar with Decatur?
Oh yeah, dude, totally. I went to high school in Marietta. I lived in.
Okay, shit, yeah.
I went to Walton High School. And I still have so many super good friends from Walton High School that I still talk to all the time. And I have an agent in Atlanta, and I'm hoping to do some work down there. And
it's turned into a mini Hollywood. They say that Atlanta is like literally the new Hollywood of the 21st century.
Oh yeah, absolutely. John Paul Rice, our executive producer on Game Day, and Edgar Bravo, our director and my co-writer on it. They live in Atlanta. And they're down there, and they really love it. I mean, Atlanta's cool, man. I mean,
it's nice. Yeah, you just don't go to South Atlanta. That's yeah. I call it the mini Queens of New York. I mean, it resembles it so much,
when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, I was like, I was one of those guys that was like, I was bigger was younger, and then as I got older, everybody got bigger than me. So for sports, football was like something that, like, by the time I was a senior in high school, there was no way it was going to happen. So I took up boxing, and I was boxing down, in downtown, Atlanta, MLK down there, man, and it was like,
oh, Martin Luther King Drive, yeah, man, and I just had the greatest time of my life going down there and doing it, and I love Atlanta. I can't stand the Braves. I'm a Phillies fan because I'm from Philly, so I can't stand the Braves. And I'm not big on the Hawks either because I'm all Philadelphia sports. I love. Yeah, I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, and I'm a New England Patriot fan. So. Wow,
interesting. Have you not to
plug another? But hold on. But I'm from New York, so get that right.
Yeah, I think New England has a certain thing to it where I lived up there for a while. I lived in New Hampshire. I lived in this Amherst, New Hampshire, not Amherst, Massachusetts, but right over the border. There's Lowell, and then there's Nashua, and then Amherst is a little tiny town right near Nashua in New Hampshire. And I loved New England, loved living there. Did not love the teams because I was a Flyer fan, so all the Bruin fans hated me, and I was in Sixers fans, so the Celtics fans hated. But I loved it. And, I'll tell you something. This is an interesting thing, and I want to plug another podcast while I'm on yours. But I do want to say something is very interesting is Jim Gray has a podcast called Let's Go. And yesterday, Tom Brady was his guest. And I generally, as a Eagles fan, have, want to categorically dislike Tom Brady, and he's become such a Darth Vader in the face of sports. But I'll tell you, man, listen to him on that podcast.
I did it because I was
very
feeling
forthcoming about his divorce with Giselle.
I was going to say his career is falling apart, Dean. I mean, they're on a 4-game losing streak right now. And Brady,
they're 3-5. He's going to hang it up soon. But
he's got to hang up. I just had this discussion with the gentleman. I was just on the show not too long ago on his show, and I said the same thing. I was like, listen, at this point of Brady's career, is he worried about rings? Is he worried about fame? Or is he worried about money? He's got all three of them. He's got the fame, he's got the legacy, he's got the money. But I mean, at this point, he's got to hang it up. He's going through a divorce of 25 years, folks, 25 years. And at this point, he's beat all the greatest, Dean. He's beat Bradshaw. What more does he have to prove? Retire, Brady. Live that nice life in Tampa Bay, Florida. That's all,
I get that. And I do agree with what you're saying in that respect, but I think it's sort of this way too. Painters paint, Michael, and you think about what we do, what you do, what I do, the things that we do, it would be very difficult to walk away from our lives. And this isn't a guy that is. What must be what? Listen, this is coming from a non-Brady fan, non-Patriot fan. I mean, when I tell you I bleed Eagles green, I mean, if you ask, you could give me a number on the Eagles team, and not only could I tell you who it is, I could tell you what college they went to and give you probably a paragraph on each guy. I'm a massive Eagles fan.
Yeah, but Dean, it's an ego boost right now. You don't think it's he's being stubborn by staying in the league? I mean,
I think that it is allow me to get slightly Buddhist here. Okay. I think it is attachment. Okay. In life, we get attachments to all kinds of things, and letting go of attachments is one of the most difficult things that we can do. Jesus talks about it. It's like, he always says, that you got to, you can only serve one master, God or mammon. Okay. Well, people think of that as like a love of money or a love of God. Well, really what it's about is, you serve something. Bob Dylan says, you got to serve somebody. Okay.
Hey there. Your favorite NBC and Bravo shows are now streaming on Peacock, and you have Peacock. So
I'm all yours.
Okay. Where do you want the rest?
The rest? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Another one? Hey! Busted.
Masterpiece.
That's fun.
You thirsty?
They were all dead. Sweet dreams.
So, what are we watching? Oh, I don't understand a word you're saying.
NBC, Bravo, and so much more. All in one place. Streaming on Peacock.
Savaged. Unfiltered.
The reality is he has spent his entire life serving that Lord football. And you listen, man, it's very difficult for the greatest football player to ever put on a uniform to walk away from what defines him. Think about it for a minute, man. Think about what makes you tick or what makes me tick or what makes us feel so passionately or the reason that we live. To walk away from that's a very difficult thing to do, man. I don't know, I don't know how hard. If somebody said to me, Dean, you got to walk away from acting and writing and being an artist and playing music in your band. If somebody said that to me, I would literally feel like somebody hit me in the gut with a Louis.
Well, I get it. You've been in the industry for a long time. Obviously, Brady's been in the industry of the NFL for a long time. That's all he knows. That's all you know. Like same thing with me. I've been in the radio industry, now podcasting for, over 20 years. That's all I know, and I'm slowly getting into books. I have a book coming out in the end of December.
Right.
It's
clear that you're good at it too. It's clear that you understand it, that you have a flair for it, that you know how to move an interview along, that you can do all those things. And it's not just because you've done it, it's because you like it and you love it. And it's
my passion too. It's my interest. I mean, I was around some of the greatest, early, in my career of radio, and I seen how they drive those key points, how to keep the interview going, how to keep it on solid points, where to draw the line, where to speed it up, the height points, all that stuff. And I that's a lot, I like to teach too. I like to teach this to the new people that are coming in, because Dean, I'm sure you see it in the Hollywood industry too, where you see people come and go in Hollywood more than ever, just like podcasting. In podcasting, there's over 250,000 podcasters now, and just in the United States.
Right. Yeah.
Out of those 250,000 podcasters, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 of them just don't have their game in talking, and they don't know where to deliver. And, it's unfortunate, but it happens. And the same thing goes with Hollywood. You're going to have your flops. You're going to have your winners, so.
Well, Michael, I think that you're absolutely right. I agree with what you're saying with that. And I do think that one thing that I think people don't understand especially when they look at somebody, and again, I can't begin to tell you as a football fan, and I want to emphasize that as a football fan, as an Eagles fan, I hate Tom Brady in that respect. Okay. But as a person and hearing him talk on that deal today, I have a lot of respect for the guy. Now, I don't know what he's like in his personal life, and I don't know what the person is like. I see him yelling on the sidelines and acting, to me, very juvenile sometimes. And
well, he's taken a lot of shit from Belichick over the years up in New England, but
well, I'll tell you this much, man. That guy is a brilliant human being. He is genius. And that term is thrown around so often these days.
Oh, he's going to go down in the fucking Hall of Fame without a doubt. I know that.
Man, the guy's the best ever. And this is coming from an Eagle fan that lives to loathe him. Okay. So I'm telling you, this guy's amazing. But there are people like that. There are the Tom Brady's. There are the Larry Birds. There are the Magic Johnsons. There's all of those people. And so many, so many, not just the ones that fit in with our political beliefs or fit in with our align with our artistic sensibilities, but there are people that are so great for so many reasons that don't necessarily line up with the way that we feel about things. And I think that's an unfortunate aspect. And that's what I'm very much afraid of for my sons. You know, I have sons that are from 37 down to 15. You know, I was a young dad, and there's pluses and negatives, you know, about that. In that, you know, especially my oldest son had a teenager father, and you know, that definitely is difficult on kids sometimes. But I'll tell you this much: with my 3 sons, I try to tell them, try to see all the sides of situations, because we miss so much. You know, we miss so much greatness. We miss so much insight. We miss so much moments to learn by people, because they don't fit in with our political beliefs, or they don't fit in with our religious beliefs, or they don't belong to our ethnocentristic tribe of people. So that, you know, like, there's so many great people who are Russian. There are great people who are Chinese. There are great people who are Indian. There are great people who are a million different nationalities from, you know,
all walks of life. Absolutely.
And all types of people and all genders, you know, and we so much, unfortunately, in this world are taught to, it's so funny, Michael. I really find that I think commercials go out of their way to show diversity, because they're hiding what is really, in truth, a very non-diverse mentality. And they look at diversity as a chance to capitalize and make money on demographics. But the reality of it is that I think that a lot of times this drives.
And there's so much money going in those commercials too, like with the political. Oh God, it's just.
And some great people doing the commercials. I've had some really great shoots, and I've really noticed that a lot of the people I've rarely met anybody in any commercial that I thought, well, this is not a good person, or these aren't good people. You know, it's a pressure. It's a pressure to sell. It's a pressure to reach. It's an art to reach whatever demographics that you can reach and what you can do. And the reality is that we're all in this world, whether we're in the NFL or we're in on CBS, or we're trying to sell what some client has hired us to shoot a commercial for. It's a very, very difficult, thin line that we walk. And I just hope that everybody is more tolerant and loving towards each other, and realizes that it takes all kinds of people in this world to make this world run correctly.
Well, well said, Dean. I mean, I'm just listening to you from the beginning of the show to the end. I mean, from movies to sports to politics, I think we covered it all tonight.
Well, I sure enjoyed talking to you, Michael. You're a thoughtful guy, and you can your heart comes through, man. You can hear that you're a good-hearted, decent human being, and a very bright one too. So I sure enjoy talking to you, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I want to say again, please, everybody, you know, we have such a low budget on marketing for game day, but man, we put all our heart and soul into it. And please, if you folks are out there, please go check out Game Day on Tubi, on Plex, on Apple Plus, on Amazon. I really think you'll find so much of your own families in there. We're all doing our best, and I really think it's an important movie for people to see. And I just can't thank you and Sauce enough as well for having me on and letting me not just talk about our movie Game Day, but just having a great conversation with you. Michael, I enjoyed it wholeheartedly, man.
Well, I enjoyed it too. Guys, you just heard the actor of Game Day, Mr. Dean Simone, on the show Savage Unfiltered. Dean, you have a good rest of your day, and thank you for being part of the show, man.
You too, pal. God bless you, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy.